Actually, there's a lot of people that make lo-fi hip hop.
Okay.
That's how I got into this. And there's also a really nice jazz scene, actually. So combining these two worlds is what I see my music as, you know.
What's up, guys? Mixed by Jocelyn here, back with another episode of Mixed Up. And today we've got a brilliant guest on for you. I've been bumping his new album for like the last 2 weeks straight. We've got GLIMLIP on the podcast. What's going on, bro?
Hey man, all good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm great. As I said, I have been banging the new project.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So I actually, in all honesty, it was the first time finding your music. And I don't know how I came across the project. I think it must have come up in a suggested or something but it popped up and I might have got like 30 seconds through the first track. And I was like, dude, I've got to chat to this guy. So I like DM'd you straight away and I hadn't even finished listening to the first track. But I was like, I love this kind of music so much. And it for the first time in a long time, I was like, oh, new music that I'm like, picked up by. So I was like, let's get him on the pod. Let's chop it up. So awesome. Yeah, the project's called Shades of Purple, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very dope. I mean, I hate to always sort of draw comparisons, but just for everyone watching and listening, you know, to me, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it gives me like Kate Trinada, sort of Flying Lotus, Thundercat kind of vibes. Would you say that was right? Are they inspirations?
Yeah. They are for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, that's wicked. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it was because where are you from?
I'm from the Netherlands. Grew up in Rotterdam, but I'm based in Amsterdam.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Right. So it's like, is there like a big scene for that kind of music out there?
Actually, there's a lot of people that make lo-fi hip hop. Okay. That's how I got into this. And there's also a really nice jazz scene, actually. So combining these two worlds is what I see my music as, you know.
Right. I see. Yeah, I do get that, and there's definitely heavily influenced on both sides, but
exactly.
There feels to be like it's very energetic at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's music that you could easily put, you know, in the background and just vibe out and do your thing to, but at the same time, I would not be upset at all if I was at a bar and it was bumping off the speakers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's got very good pace.
Yeah, and that's what I also want to achieve in a way. I want it to be chill but energetic, because when I'm in the studio, when I'm making music, I want to stay energized and really feel the music I'm making. But I like hip hop and jazz, and that's not always the most up tempo type of stuff, right? So this is the way I do it, I guess.
Yeah. So we spoke a little bit about your inspirations, like outside of the ones that my go-to, like my brain connected. Is there any other like major inspirations for that like have played a part in like sculpting your sound?
When I grew up and I was just discovering new music, everything changed for me when I checked out Sam I Am.
Okay.
It's this, it was just so exciting to me. All these synthesizer sounds, very raw stuff. I think he recorded everything on the SP. But just his rhythms, they were so offbeat, not on the grid, and they sounded so much like they had so much swing to it. He was obviously influenced by Jay Dilla, I suppose, but I listened
as most of us have been at some point.
Exactly, yeah, definitely. But I never really listened to Jay Dilla. I think I listened to the people that listened to Jay Dilla, so I was like indirectly inspired by him,
right? Influenced by him.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay Dilla, Madlib, all those guys, especially, and I can even hear like sonically that imprint popping through with like the low end sort of saturation, especially that comes through in your records. Because there's, there's lo-fi done the way that a lot of people do it, but from when I listen to your music, it sounds very intentional, and it's in my head, like being a bit of a snob when it comes to stuff like this. It sounds like it's done properly, right? In terms of creating those textures and that vibe. Is there like a particular process that you're doing when you're creating your music to sort of like home in on those sonic sounds?
100%. I completely nerd out. I kind of it's funny because I am in the studio. I'm doing a session with a musician, and we make something dope. But until the sonics are right, I get a little bit nervous. I'm like, it has to be right. So
Yeah.
even when the session is done, I'll go back to my laptop. Even when I'm at home and I've closed off the studio, I'll go back, make sure it sounds exactly the way I want it to sound. And
Right.
I'll be like a perfectionist, trying to get all the details right up until an annoying point, I guess, because
Yeah.
it's never right, and I keep going and going.
Yeah, and that's what's so unique and tricky about like the style of music that you're making, and I guess why I can be a bit envious of it, because there's this like balance between um, creating those sonics, but at the same time, they're almost meant to be imperfect. Do you
Yeah,
see what I'm
exactly.
saying? So it's the imperfect sounds, and like even the swing and off the grid and the textures
Yeah,
that come through it, that create that feeling. And it's like, for me, being a mix engineer, I'm like, just going to try and get everything as clean as possible and tidy
yeah,
everything up. So that's my natural process is. But when I want to make music like that, it's like I have to force myself away from it.
exactly. And it is very difficult to get that balance right. Sometimes my collaborators would even tell me, "You mixed it too well, so dial it back and bring back that feel that we had before." Um, so yeah, that is difficult. And I'm still, trying different ways and approaches. I just bought a Tascam 414 Porta Studio.
I saw
So
on your story. I saw
right,
that on your story, and then that's what made me think. I was like, "Oh, this guy is diving in to the
yeah,
sound."
but I like the idea of printing it on tape and then rolling with what you have. So this is just the sound you're going for. You have it, and you move on. That
Right.
will save me probably some time of constantly tweaking and tweaking.
Well, I mean, it's like a sound that we're trying to get from a computer, right? So you're
Exactly,
just like, "Fuck it, I'll just put it through the tape and then get the sound anyway."
100%, because I'm using all these tape emulations anyway.
Yeah. What's sort of like the process like? So are you running like the individual stems through the Tascam, or are you sort of like mixing it and then running like the stereo through it, and then like having and then bringing that back into the computer and letting that be your final?
I'm still very much in the experimentation phase when it comes to this machine. But I noticed that I get an incredible drum saturation sound of running the drums just through the electronics without even engaging the tape.
Oh,
Use the
really?
preamp. Yeah, it's insane. I just write the preamp and it's instant crunch. It's so good.
Really?
It's amazing.
Oh, that's
Um,
dope.
so I'm just trying stuff out, and I also bought a reel-to-reel quarter-inch recorder.
Which
So
one?
I'm using it's a TEC.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
4-track, but
Nice.
I just use it on my mix bus actually, and it sounds lovely.
Yeah.
It adds glue, it adds some sizzle on the top, a round low end, and yeah, I love that. It's
Yeah.
it's doing a great job actually.
You got all the toys. I got a friend of mine who was on this show actually recently. He's when I was asking him for some headshots for the thumbnail, he sent me one, and he was like sitting in front of a reel to reel quarter-inch, and I was like, "Dude, like," and he was like, "Yeah, I got like 3," and I was like, "Mate, I'm gonna need to send you my project because I need you to run it through it." Do you know what I mean? He was like,
Exactly.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
happily,
Yeah.
happily," because otherwise I'm just running it through like the UAD like Studer, like trying to get the sound. But and
Yeah.
it's great because I'm always like popping down Abbey Road and I see all of these like reel to reels and I'm like, but they'll never let me
Aren't they
play with
beautiful?
them. Yeah. But they'll never let me play with them because they're so expensive. And those ones are like the Beatles recorded on it, so I can't touch it. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's dope. I do really like that. And I think, I think it's great to see you on because following you on your Instagram, you with all these toys. Are you in your studio now? Is this your spot?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm in my studio now, and I wish I could kind of like show you around, but I have to keep my computer connected. But
what we'll do is we'll turn this into a reel, and you can send a video, and we'll
yeah. I'll give you a little look around. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I love this place so much.
It feels very calm.
Yeah. I put a lot of effort in making it look like a living room.
Yeah.
And I wanted that because I want it to feel like I'm at home. But then I also don't like having my workspace at home because I get into a mindset when I'm somewhere else. And when I'm here, I'm really here to make music and I don't really do any other things.
Yeah, the separation is important, 100%.
Exactly, yeah.
I think everyone sort of realized that, especially in lockdown when it came to making music. Like, you want those separate spaces to be creative and then be at home and switch off,
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with like creative minds, it's hard to switch off anyway. So then if your space is at home, like you never would, I see you got loads of, just from what I can see in the background, like loads of different instruments and like a drum kit there and stuff like that. Have you been like trained in any like particular types of instruments, or is it something that you've like self-taught?
I started when I was really young playing the drums, and then I moved to guitar, and it was only later on that I started playing piano. But I always say that Ableton is my instrument because that's what I do, and I always work with musicians that play the instruments better than I do. So
right. Well, but you get the ideas there, surely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was one of the questions that I wanted to speak to you about, because I saw from some of your music, like you do lean in quite heavily with like collaborations. You don't shy away from it. Who are some of the guys that you're collaborating with, like maybe on this like latest project?
So here, on this latest project, the piano is really the instrument that glues everything together. I think on every record there's piano. Maybe there's a few where there's Rhodes, but there's keys on everything, played by real key players. I worked with a guy called Ron Cha. He's an incredible key player, but also Daan Herweg, Dutch guy, who used to write on the Caro Emerald tracks. So he's like,
oh wow,
yeah, really cool guy, insane player. Elijah Fox also contributed, which is the key player of Yusuf Days. He goes by an alias
dope
called Soren Sostrom.
Amazing.
Just many people on this record. Everyone doing an amazing job, and
yeah. That really does come across because, you've got this like texture in this glue, which feels very you. Now, obviously, taking a deeper dive into your music, but then, it has these like complex licks that like could really be only played by a master in those particular instruments.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, I love the use of brass as well in the project. As you said, it's very piano dominated, but like sparingly the brass comes in and is used quite like, almost like an accent, and it's not overbearing in any of the tunes, which I found was really nice. But if you actually listen to it, because if you're not really paying attention, you could totally miss that there was even a brass section in there. But when you listen to it, it's like, oh, that was crazy complicated and that was well good. Like, you know what I mean? We just listen, but it's just gone. It's a split second. So I really like the usage of that, to be fair.
Yeah, thanks for noticing. I really enjoy not overdoing it, but having like little magic moments. So you kind of want it to happen again, but it doesn't always happen again.
Yeah.
And the people that I work with are just amazing at that. They're so tasteful in the licks they play, and it's definitely not easy stuff they're doing. You know, I could never do it.
No, totally. And the self-control as well, I find as a musician, to use it sparingly. I think that's great as well, because if you get this lick as a producer, you're like, mate, stick that on a 4-bar loop. We've got a whole tune here. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, let's repeat it and repeat it.
Yeah, but it's just popping in. I guess that's sort of like the jazz influence, really, because that's used a lot in jazz. It's constantly progressing as music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what your songs are seem to be doing a lot. So, again, talking about like some of your inspirations, like currently right now, who are some of your like favorite musicians?
Good question. Yeah, it's always changing, but I'm still listening. I started listening to McGee again because I figured out that this guy was doing a lot with cassettes and actually recording his guitar into like one of those test cam machines, just using that preamp, what I was talking about with the drums.
Okay.
And it sounds super interesting. His guitar always sounds so textureful and weird.
Yeah.
So I'm just like trying to get inspired by that kind of stuff. What else? Yeah, I don't know. My Spotify is just always doing weird suggestions.
Yeah, so
you know how it goes, right? But I was also checking out some stuff from this producer called Nicky Nair.
Okay.
Completely different genre, but there are some tunes that are extremely well produced. They're bangers, like this one track called Power Tool. You gotta check that one out.
I will.
It made me want to start to learn how to make electro. I don't even know if that's the right genre, but I think it is.
Yeah. Send after this, DM it to me and I'll check it out.
Yeah, for sure. And always listening to jazz, to Kamashi Washington, Robert Glasper, Yusuf Days, that kind of stuff.
That's dope. Have you heard of a group in the UK? What are they called? I think it's Blue Lab Beats.
Yeah, I love those. I love them.
Yeah. They were in another group. I can't remember what they were called back in the day, but I used to record those guys a little bit. But then they sort of like went off on their own thing, and yeah, they were in like a group. There was like 4 of them, so it was those 2 as the rapper, and then there was as the producers, and then there was a rapper and a singer. But that was before, obviously, these guys like did their own thing. But yeah, they're great. And it was someone like, you're listening to you, obviously, and I was watching you one of your reels, and you're like playing the drum pad, and it reminded me of like their style. Do you know what I mean? So it's like,
nice,
I wonder if you've ever heard of those guys. But yeah, they're
definitely.
To be fair, in the scene, they're like, they're quite well known, to be fair, nowadays. But yeah. So with the studio, is it sort of like a space that is it your studio alone, or do you share it, or what's the idea behind it?
It's my studio alone. I used to be in a different studio together with one of the key players that I mentioned. And eventually I had the opportunity to build a studio here. This was a concrete room, but it was already a box-in-box construction with a floating floor, wall behind the wall, and a ceiling underneath the ceiling. So it is a really well-constructed room, but it was just a concrete room. So I had to treat it myself. Luckily, I met a carpenter at an after party that wants to do it for me.
Okay.
And he did an amazing job. He did an incredible job.
Are those so all those panels, are they custom built panels and stuff?
Exactly. Everything here is custom built. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really nice. I like the like lighter wood against the sort of beige cream. It's quite nice. A bit different to the stereotypical black panel that you see everywhere. I made these, to be fair, but they're no way near as good as well built as those. I don't really know what I'm doing.
I was also like, I kind of want to build it myself because of the satisfaction you get from it. But then I was like, no, I have to do this properly. I'm just not going to touch it.
Yeah. Well, it looks great. It looks great. And obviously you have like your own design input Do you know what I mean? So, and maybe getting a professional to do it is like the better choice. Do you know what I mean? So they don't look wonky like mine. But yeah, no. So when it comes to like the space, do you use it for any other purposes other than like creating your own music, or is it just for your own music, or do you run like a business out of it or anything?
I should probably, but I don't.
Right. Okay.
But I should definitely make it a bit more. How do you call it? I should probably have more people in here when I'm not here. Sometimes I do rent it out, but I'm also like scared to rent it out. I need to know the people because it's my baby, this place, you know.
Yeah, of course.
My heart and soul is in this spot. So
yeah.
But yeah, I could definitely have a sort of different approach to it. It's probably a good idea. Yeah.
What about sort of like producing for other people and like producing other people's albums and helping them write and using your space?
Yeah, I'd be down for that. It's just, yeah, it doesn't happen often that people approach me for such a thing. And when I'm deciding what I want to do most, it's usually just working on my own projects. Although I've been enjoying a lot working together with vocalists, rappers. So that could be cool to do more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because that was one thing that's very apparent that isn't there really on the Shades of Purple. There's not a lot of vocals of any, right, across the whole project. And I was interested to see if there was like, obviously there's other tunes that I've seen that you've collaborated with on with vocalists and stuff like that, but I think it would be very cool to see more like a full collaboration with like a particular rapper or something like that. I wondered if there was anything in the pipeline there.
It's coming up.
Okay. Spoke too soon. I've given the cat's out of the bag.
No, it's definitely coming. I did really enjoy just releasing instrumental projects. I always noticed that I was listening mostly to the music when I was listening to hip hop, and the lyrics always came later. I was like, well, I've heard this record 100 times, but I just realized what was been said. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's most producers, though. To be fair.
Right. Yeah.
True.
But yeah, there's stuff coming up with rappers, vocalists, and I really enjoy working on those these days. Definitely.
Yeah, dope. Because it's a different. We were talking about it just before, but like you do have to approach it slightly differently, surely, because obviously your own instrumental music. When I'm listening to it, I couldn't hear a space for a rapper. Like, right. Or, all of the instrumentation is being used, the space is there, and it's like anything more would maybe overbear or take away from like the project itself. So like when you're approaching creating music like that, do you find yourself having to like dial back some of your like input?
Yes, but it's also just a different approach, I think, because with the projects that I've been putting out, I was also really trying to fill that space where there was usually a vocal. So really getting the melodies in there and using instruments that have sort of the same vocal range, same frequency range as a vocal. Like, I don't know, the brass, for example, is a good idea for that. But it's really nice writing a track, producing a track, having in mind that there is going to be a vocal, even when you're making a track without the vocalist in the room. But I get surprised by how open sometimes I need to keep the production.
Yeah.
How little elements I need to get in there.
Because you can remove the inspiration from the artist sometimes. Like if there's not space there and they can't hear themselves in the record, like they'll be like, this is an amazing piece of music, but they can't find a way of putting themselves in it. So that like when I'm producing for artists and stuff, I'm constantly having to find, oh no, let me leave all that stuff out and to me I'm like, oh, it feels like empty, but they are like perfect. Do you know what I mean? Gives them their spot to breathe. What you said about like you using instruments to like almost like replace the vocals in your own music. From what I can tell, I feel like a lot of the time, you said the brass, but actually I feel like a lot of the time, like the main instrument is the bass on some of your music. Like that's like the driving
Right.
force of all the songs. And one of the things that I love so much about the album is like these bass lines. Like they're great, 100%. Like it's like just the right amount of movement. And one thing that I love is how like big and like fuzzy those bass lines are. What's your process like in like creating those bass lines?
Are you talking about the sound, or are we talking about?
I mean, it's both really, because it's
Yeah.
like you get the sound. You know, you could. I see your tunic because you've got like a Moog, right?
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to give you. Is it sub 32?
Yeah, it's Sub Fatty, actually the one that came before, and
Oh, the sub 30.
I also have
The better one.
well, I don't know which one is better. I only have this one, but I love the sound of it, and I also have a Novation bass station.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah.
And that is also really nice. But that I think the Moog is always the winner.
Well, it's just got such big low end.
Yeah,
and
it's just
so
fat.
round. Yeah.
So fat. I know. Yeah.
At one
but
point, I did have a sub, and I don't know why I got rid of it. And it's like the biggest regret of my life. Like I constantly think about it. It's like it's one of those things you're having a shower and it pops up in your head, and you're like, oh god, why did I get rid of it? Yeah, yeah, totally. But like and then what about sort of like the processing after?
Yeah, yeah, what about it? I have to give a shout out to this guy, a producer named Nokia with 2 A's in the end.
Okay.
I learned so much from him when it came to processing, mixing, and mastering. He swears by using an SPL tube vitalizer on the master bus, and I bought that unit just because I loved the way his mixes sounded. And that unit is on every song of the whole record.
I might be wrong, but is that this sort of like it's like a small box kind of thing that
this
runs
one is
through?
Yeah, so you also have a plug-in version of it, but it's like this one rack space unit. That's the normal version. It's called the SPL Vitalizer, but you also have a 2 rack space unit, which is the tube vitalizer.
Right.
There's 3 tubes in it. I think they described it as like also a psychoacoustic processor, something to use to revitalize old records that were to be remastered from tape and that kind of stuff, where they didn't have much low end. Because it's also easy to overdo it with this machine. There's this knob which rounds up the bass, and that sounds insane. It sounds so good.
Yeah.
It's fat. And it's easy to overdo it, but it sounds so nice.
Yeah. And so, and it's really all about that saturation then when it comes to like pulling that aggression out for you.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just how I approach the mixing of my kick and my bass, I think. Because I love bass, so I make it quite apparent in the productions that I do.
It's there.
Yeah, right. It's there. And I don't know. There's also like fun tricks that you can do, like adding noise on top of the bass, and then sidechain the noise to the frequency of the bass, so that it sounds like distortion. Because if you think about it, you can make things sound distorted by adding a tremolo to it.
Yeah.
So this noise is acting like a tremolo, but it's always moving on the frequency of the bass, and it's
it's the
slow
movement,
frequency.
right? Yeah. So that's what's creating that space. Oh, that's interesting. And do you know what? Now you say that, that's probably what that sort of like noise and fuzz is what I'm hearing when I was listening to it. Yeah. That's really interesting. I might after this, I might pick your brain a bit more about that in the DMs. Try that out for myself. To be fair, that's a cool
try it out.
Yeah.
It's like Have you ever heard that track from Billie Eilish, Zanny?
Yeah.
Where the vocal distorts also on the frequency of the bass. It's exactly that, actually.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
almost
it's like
moves with it. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
vibrating exactly on the frequency of the bass, because that vocal is sidechained with a super fast attack and a super fast release with the
Right.
highest ratio setting. And if you then, play with the threshold, you get that effect. It's so cool.
Yeah, and I think most people would have just thought, oh, that's sort of a tremolo that's just like been tuned in. But if it's like connected to the bass, that's why it's moving with the bass. Yeah. That's great. That's very interesting. I like that. That's definitely being turned into a reel, 100%. That's
Fun.
very cool. So I take it from the sounds of it, you are mixing and mastering all of your own stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that something that is that like a passion of yours, or do you do it out of necessity?
No, I did. So one album is mastered by someone else. It's the second album I put out, 12 chapters. And I wanted to be there when he mastered it, because it is a passion and a hobby and an obsession of mine. I'm always trying to learn about mastering, mixing, and there was also one track of the album that I sent out to a mastering engineer, to two actually, just to see what their approach would be compared to mine. And I went for my master, but I also mixed it into how I wanted to master it. So it made a lot of sense that I liked my master better in this scenario. And it all comes down to taste in the end anyways. But yeah, I love being busy with that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's what I'm all about. So it's nice to hear that and like have the passion. Do you know what I mean? And I think it complements a producer a lot when they spend the time and learn the craft. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of blurred lines between the crafts themselves. Do you know what I mean? So when you say you're like mixing into the master, so like I take it you've got like sort of like half baked master chain and you're mixing into that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly. So since not too long ago, I've been experimenting with mixing into the God particle, which is like a exciter and a multiband compressor and a limiter, right?
Yeah,
and also a bit of an imager. It's also widening it up a little bit.
Yeah, shout out Jason Joshua.
Shout out, definitely.
It's on all my mixes.
Right. So then you also know it's really important how hard you hit that plugin, because
you really do have to hit into it. You have to mix into it, like that, and that's what it's designed to do as well.
Exactly. So that's how I like to start my mixes as well, with a certain processing going on in my master chain. And then when I'm going through the process of referencing it with tracks that I like from others, then I complete that process of the master bus. I add my standard clip and some EQing, some compression, maybe depends.
What does that look like? What's the clipper that you're using at the moment?
I tried different things, but I still went back to standard clip.
Right. Have you tried God Particle? No, sorry. You're using God Particle. Gold Clip.
The Gold Clip. No, I still need to try that out. I did try something new out. It was Ash from Acoustica Audio, which is interesting because it emulates all the typical converters that are out there. So
yeah. So you got like a variety.
Yeah, it's like fun because they have different sounds. They clip in slightly different ways. But yeah, Gold Clip. I'll write it down. I'll check that out because
that's what I've been using, and I've been pairing it with the God Particle.
Oh yeah,
and it sounds great. It's definitely good at getting
Did you ever
bit extra oomph?
Right. Did you ever A/B it with a standard clip to see?
I have not, no, but I know it's doing some extra stuff under the hood. Like it's got this sort of like harmonic pull that it's like, and it's constantly changing as it pulls up the frequency. I was speaking to the creator Ryan. I think I might be meeting up with him this weekend. Actually, he's a great guy, but he's put a lot of time into sort of like how it moves and trying to create its own sound. Because obviously, it's like emulating. I don't want to say for his sake, but it's emulating a certain bit of hardware that most of us know. But it's like it's doing more than that, if you see what I'm saying. And one of the cool features, and I can talk about it now because it's been released today, is he's just released a pairing to it that's included with the clip, but it's called Gold Clip Track. So it's like the Gold Clip is like really for mastering. It's quite heavy CPU based, but then he's got this like paired version now, which you can put on your channels as well and get that same sort of feeling. Nice. So I've been using that for a couple of weeks. It's like great on the kick drum and really nice on my bass. Like if I'm using like an 808 and I want a bit of aggression out of it. So it's a good tool. It's a good tool. I yes, would suggest even just trying out the demo. It's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because there's a couple others because I didn't mind if I'm mixing sort of like something for like a drill artist or something like that, and if it's the beats come from FL, I won't use the Gold Clip because it don't sound like the clip in FL. The closest one that I use is the Knock clip. That's the one. And then I mean he has his own one called Orange Clip as well, which is meant to emulate that. But I tried to I don't actually like the sound of the FL clipper like everyone else does. It's not like it's too aggressive for me, to be honest. Like
I understand.
But with the taste of music, it's different. But that's why I mix all the time. So like, I have to do it. But no disrespect to any of my clients. The same music. I love all your music. But like, just different,
I get you,
different paces. But and then what sort of like other things have you got on your master bus then?
I really liked the sound of. I have to check it out. I think it was also an Acoustica Audio plugin. Just the Diamond EQ, I think.
Oh, okay.
It is one of those plugins from Luca Pretolesi, that mastering engineer. That
I've not used it.
It is really nice, just the sound of it. He also emulated some gear. What I did on all the tracks on the record that we talked about is just engaging the preamp and hitting it hard enough so it created some harmonics, and that's all I did. Maybe not even touch the EQ, and it gave a really nice sound and presence to the mix.
Nice.
That was
I'll have
cool.
to try that. Diamond EQ.
Yeah, let me just. Yeah, I think it's Diamond EQ. Yeah,
double check.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna try that out. In terms of like the music scene in Amsterdam, what's it like?
It's nice. Everyone wants to work with everyone. Everyone is chill, talented, enthusiastic, and Amsterdam is like a village. So you always run into people. And that's really nice.
I've been there once. I think I experienced it in the wrong way
you did?
when I was younger. But
you went to visit the coffee shops mostly.
Yeah, I was just absolutely off my mind the whole time I was there. I did this thing called THC bomb, which is like a big balloon of pure THC, and mate, I was so high.
I bet.
Yeah, I was like 18, but I'd love to go back. I was speaking to Thomas Van
Opstal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was at he came on here last week actually.
Nice.
And I was saying, I need to come over and like hang out with you guys and like experience Amsterdam music scene properly. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So are you do you guys know each other?
Yeah, he was actually in my studio a week ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, and
wow. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he's great. He's great, and he's a brilliant engineer. And I love what he's doing with sort of his content and stuff like that. And like, it was not. It's for me, it's quite nice to see guys doing it over on this side, like over in Europe. It's big influences, obviously, in America in terms of like the mixing, engineer, content. But there's not like a great deal of us in over this side of the pond. So it's really nice, like connect with guys like him. And he seems really cool. And hopefully he's talked to me about doing this road trip. Hopefully he puts me on his stop off list and we link up and make some tunes together. But yeah, next time I come to Amsterdam, we'll all have to meet up and get in the studio and make a tune for sure.
Yeah, I'll be down for sure.
Yeah, he's great. He is a great guy though, and and I'm very jealous of some of his equipment as well. He's got some really nice.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Stuff. Yeah. I mean, in terms of production stuff, you've got the setup. Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to mixing, he's like also got some great gear. It's like
100%.
everyone in Amsterdam's got all the outboard stuff.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Are you mostly in the box then?
Oh mate, like I have been for a long time. I used to have a lot of outboard stuff, but I don't know. It's so fast. I'm like, where I'm mixing for so many clients and stuff. It doesn't really make sense. Like I just can't. Like I have a full 32 channel desk, but like it doesn't get used. And I have some outboard gear, but it's just all sort of just, it's more just for keepsake now.
Yeah.
But I'm not that. I need to move fast. But one day, and I mean, once I'm like have a more permanent situation with my studio, because here I probably won't be here for like more than a year, much longer. I will start, building again, and when I can be a bit more selective with the projects that I work with, you know what I mean, spend a bit more time with it. But time is never on the side of a mix engineer.
Never.
So, like you always needed it yesterday with a mix engineer. So yeah. Let me talking of equipment, actually, that's a good question. Like what's your 3 favorite pieces of equipment in your studio? Now this can be synths, hardware, even guitars or drums, like, but what's like the 3 most important things to you in your space?
I think number 1 is my Nord Lead 4. It's the first synthesizer that I ever bought, and it is especially very dear to me because when I want to buy something, I look up all these videos online, I read blogs, I get obsessed by it. The first video that popped up on YouTube was this guy from Nord, Federico, Italian dude, just doing cool shit on the Nord Lead. It was like a promotion video of how to use it and what sounds are getting from the thing. And then I found one on eBay, Dutch eBay. Funnily enough, the guy was also called Federico.
Right. What so random, just coincidence.
I go to The Hague and I ring the doorbell and the guy from the video opens up.
Oh my God, it was actually him.
It was him.
And you're like, dude, you're the reason why I'm buying this.
Exactly. And it was such a nice dude. And actually a friendship evolved from this. Like we're still hanging out and talking and making music together. So
see, that's what I love about music. Those things, that like it's almost unique in this space that like, you can go and pick something up from eBay and then like make a whole friendship from it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. That's beautiful.
But it's because of the passion, it's the passion behind it. That's so great. That's great. So, and I mean, so I guess it was the actual keyboard from the video then that you bought.
Yeah, it was actually. He had so much Nord stuff that he didn't need that anymore. But he still regrets it now that he sold it to me because he does miss it.
Yeah, of course. Just like me and my Moog sub.
Exactly.
Everyone always regrets it. Look, if anyone's listening to this, if you have a bit of hardware and you are considering selling it, just don't sell it. Like get the money from somewhere else if you need money, because you will regret selling the synth. Do you know
never
what I mean?
Sell your hardware.
No, never do. There's so many bits like that I just think, and I'm like, oh, if I still had that, that'd be so cool. But I wouldn't have any space in my studio if I had everything that I'd ever had.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool, man. I love that. And then you got 2 more?
Yeah, I think also the piano that I have right now. Maybe we can have a little peek over here, but it's in the corner over there.
Oh yeah, nice. I've seen this on some of your videos.
Yeah, this piano, it sounds beautiful. It's very warm. Every pianist that comes in here that plays it is like, oh, this sounds good. It feels good. And it was also
your mic setup is nice on it as well, right?
Yeah, I use calls, the ribbon mics, and that works. That really
It
just
sounds
works.
really nice. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I got it for $100.
Really?
the piano, I got it for $100.
Oh wow.
So it was more expensive to get it into my studio than to actually buy it.
Yeah.
I got really lucky with that.
That's another thing I massively regret. In my old studio, I had an upright like that, and I think I might have paid like 150 quid for it from a charity shop, and it was more expensive getting it delivered. And then when it came to moving, I was like, I don't even think I can like get it out of here. So I ended up just leaving it, and I was like, as soon as I left, I was like, damn, I wish I just figured it out. But you know, when you're moving everything and everything's so expensive, and you're like, oh mate, like this is getting crazy trying to figure out how to do it. And I knew as well, I had a really bad experience with getting it tuned because the guy that came to tune it was like totally crazy. Like he was a weird guy and saying very weird things to me. And I was like, if I move it, I'll have to get it tuned again. And I was like, I don't want to get another weird piano tuner around my house again. Like, trust me, the guy was like really weird. Like he was saying some super out of pocket stuff like all day, and I was just like, what is going on? So yeah, and he rode from mine from like Hackney, and I lived in Croydon, which is quite a long way, and I was like, who rides that way? But anyway, yeah, very weird guy. And you got what? One more bit.
Yeah, I'm hesitating, but I think it will be my Fender Stratocaster because that was the first instrument I bought myself. I bought it with the money that I made delivering pizzas, and I paid it in cash from all the tips I received. So they were counting for a good amount of time at the counter when I when I arrived.
It's not a lot of €5 and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah, but yeah, that's just it's sentimental value, you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, that's like the mixing desk that I have. It's like it's not a good mixing desk, but it was the desk that I like mixed my first record on. So I was like, when I was at school, and I was like, I just want it because that was the first thing. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't get used.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I think I could find some use for it someday. Like maybe just like tracking if it's like, you know, through like a band or something like that. But I wouldn't mix for it, I don't think, anymore. Not like it's a Mackie.
Just out of convenience, or
yeah, it's a Mackie 32. It's like it's okay, but it's not like, you know, it's not giving me the sound that I would want anymore.
Yeah.
I want to give you like a quick fire round. So basically the first thing that comes to your head when I say a particular thing. And that could be anything like, you know, a piece of gear you would use, or a feeling you get from it, or, you know, a person, maybe, whatever it is. We'll go. So bass.
Moog.
Vocals.
Fuck, I think about my mic, but I forgot the name of it. But it's the Neumann something, TLM 103, I guess. Yeah.
Same mic I got. Yeah, brilliant mic. Right. I'll give you that. Speakers.
A to C.
Yeah, nice. I've seen your speakers. They're nice.
I love them. Amazing.
Yeah. Master bus.
Vitalizer.
Vitalizer, okay. Studio snack.
Ooh, I always get a grilled sandwich. It's it's a caprese. It's like mozzarella, tomato, cheese, right next door. I love it.
Okay, sweet, dope. And then I think I know your answer for this, but drums.
I don't even know the answer to this. Crunchy.
Right, okay, I'll take crunchy. I thought you were going to say Tascam. But
right, yeah, but I just got into it. Next time we talk about this, it will be Tascam that I reply.
Yeah. Piano.
Marktplaats, which is the Dutch eBay.
Right, fair enough. That's like a dig to your guy. Yeah. And then DAW.
Ableton.
Nice. Okay. I mean, I don't agree with Ableton, but yeah, Ableton's cool, but it's not my door. Do you know what? I had it and I tried to use it, and I was like, dude,
everyone is different.
Yeah. I just, you know, it was like, it's laid out in a different, like most doors you can sort of like, that was just feels a little bit like left of field for me. Do you know what I mean? But I do get very jealous of like the way that people produce on it and how like quick they can get things going. Like when you understand the door, I'm like I'll watch a lot of like Earl Dre's videos and I'm like, dude, this guy's just like rocking straight away, and it's like sounds great, and obviously yourself. But yeah, I'm like Pro Tools and Logic, so stick to it. That's good answers though. I appreciate it very, and yeah, some creative ones in there. I don't know about the tomato and the grilled cheese as well. I'll leave the tomato out, but
yeah, I think I'm really hot, the tomato. So sometimes I burn my mouth, and if it's not on there, it doesn't happen. So
yeah.
probably the safest choice.
I just don't like sliced tomatoes. It's not my thing.
Oh, okay.
But what's next for you? Like, what's in the pipeline?
More productions with vocalists, artists, and more beats, and
Love
always
that.
more jazz.
I love that. I love that. Have you got any sort of like, because you had like a couple of like beat breakdowns that I saw on your page?
Yeah.
I'd love to see some more of those. I think they were great, and you produced them so well.
Well, that one breakdown was recorded by a dear friend of mine. And then it's easy to do because I'm just doing my thing. He follows me around, and then we make an edit. But obviously, I cannot have him around all the time, so I need to figure out another way to do that to make it easy to record those.
Yeah, but they were really good. Like maybe just like bulk, like batch record them. Just do like a bunch in a day. Yeah, I really did like that, and it was done. It was done very well, you know. Because I used to love, what was that show called? Rhythm Roulette. Did you used to watch that?
Oh yeah, I was thinking about Against the Clock.
Oh yeah, Against the Clock was good as well. That was sort of the one that came after Rhythm Roulette, right? Like that was like a little bit.
I think
later.
So. Yeah.
But all those ones were great, and
I love watching those, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to watch. So I think we're onto something. Maybe we should make more of those. Yeah.
110%. Maybe I'll come to Amsterdam and I'll do one with you. And we'll.
That would be nice, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to do like a studio tour video at your spot because it's
for sure
very cool and very.
I'm also in a building with a lot of other studios. So the fun thing is I can give you a studio tour here, but we can also just knock on a neighbor's door, and then we're in a completely different studio.
Yeah, that's it. That'd be great. Get like six videos in one day. I'm well up for that. And then find ourselves in a coffee shop and I'll embarrass myself.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then, I mean, one final question. I've had a really good time chatting to you as well. But what advice would you give to any sort of like young budding producers out there that are trying to like get their sound going and be unique like yourself?
What really worked for me was to finish a lot. So I always had ideas, but I found finishing them really difficult. So if you kind of just make a promise to yourself that you will finish every idea, and it doesn't mean that you feel like it's finished, but it means that you bounced a version of it that is like as long as you would want it to be, as if it was a finished song, and you made an effort to make it sound as good as possible. Because those things are difficult, and practicing that by, in my case, releasing a beat every week for a long time, that really taught me how to do that and overcome the fear also of finishing. And I would also say just always keep going, because you have ups and downs. That's life. That's what human beings are about. And the good times are amazing and the bad times suck, but always keep going and you will get better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I really like that. And that's the first time anyone said that on this show. Most of the time you get a similar answer, but finishing the record. And that's something that I've always preached. And I actually call myself a self-proclaimed finisher. Like, I think that's why I got myself into mixing in the first place, because I knew how to finish a record for someone. So I was like, cool, I'll take that and do it for other people. But yeah, even when I'm working on my own music and I don't even really release it, I'll always make sure that it's like there. Do you see what I'm saying? Because otherwise you just got hard drives and hard drives. And I know there's a very, very decent percentage of the people watching this that have a terabyte of unfinished beats on their hard drive right now, and they're all going, shit, I should really load one up. But once you leave it and walk away from it, it's so hard to pick it back up again. Like, get it to a point, as you said, where it's like nearly there. Like, it's like you could listen to this and then it's just a few little bits, and you'll find finishing and releasing so much easier. And I also think actually, like, even just start to release, like you said, you were releasing a beat once a week.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't think your music is where it should be, but if you've done everything you can do at that current point, you should release that song, because you'll learn so much from that.
Exactly. And if you think that that track sucks after you finished it, just know that the next one will be better. That's what helped me a lot. I was always like, it doesn't matter, the next one will be better. And it will.
Yeah, that's it, 100%. And you learn from that as well. You know, you learn from that and you grow from it, and you know, you just figure stuff out as it goes, you know. But yeah, really cool, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it, spending some time together and telling me all about your studio and your process. I very much enjoyed it. As I said, it was like 30 seconds into Shades of Purple, and I was like, shit, I've got to chop it up with this guy. This is fucking cool. If you guys haven't listened to Shades of Purple, it will be linked below. Please go and check it out. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's fucking sick. And all of GLIMLIP's socials and stuff will be linked below as well. So make sure you check him out. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Safe.